My brother Fred and his wife Sarah are not very financially stable, so it was a bit of a surprise for my sister, Katie and I when they announced that they were pregnant. However, we kept it to ourselves. A few months ago, Katie planned a family trip. Brother and Sil decided to opt out as they were cutting costs for the baby. At this, Mom and Dad decided to cancel the trip altogether and have another one later, since Mom's health wasn't too great either. This greatly irked Katie as she was really looking forward to this trip and made some very unsubtle remarks that Fred and Sarah shouldn't be having children if they don't have money. This very clearly upset both of them. Unfortunately, due to several complications, the baby was stillborn. It has been a month, and my brother and Sil are understandably still devastated. Especially my Sil's mental health is not very well as of now. Yesterday, I hosted a little family dinner at my home, with sister, brother, Sil and our parents. Some time before dinner, Sil went to the bathroom, and meanwhile, my husband asked Fred if she was doing well. Before Fred could reply, Katie jumped in and said, "Well, though the loss is very sad, think of this as a good thing. At least you don't have to worry about money anymore. As I said, you shouldn't be bringing kids into this world unless you are sure you can provide for them." Fred went red-faced and said that they would have been able to provide for their child. They may not have money for extra luxuries, but they would do everything for their child. He was almost crying and purple with anger, so I quickly dragged Katie away to the kitchen and demanded what had possessed her to say something so insensitive. She got incredibly defensive and said that she had made a very practical observation and she was 100% correct. It was better to see straight than be clouded by emotions. By that time, Sarah had come out of the bathroom and was shocked to see Fred in tears. She kept on getting hysterical and asking what was wrong. I knew that Katie's presence would ruin things further, and I asked her to get out. She looked incredibly hurt and angry, but went out anyway. Fortunately, our parents were late and didn't have to see the whole spectacle. When they came home and found out what had happened, they were shocked and upset at Katie too, but Mom thinks that perhaps I shouldn't have kicked Katie out like this. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There's no silver linings to losing a wanted baby, none. And to suggest any is a particularly special form of cruel. I don't know if Katie is a particularly immature 24-year-old, or if she has some challenges in terms of social interaction, but it sounds like your mother may coddle her as the baby based on your mother's reaction to the incident. Not the idiot. Hopefully she learns some tact in the future. How terrible. I hate self-righteous bullies. They excuse such deplorable behavior in the name of our own good. That woman really just implied that the stillborn death of the man's much-anticipated child was a secret silver lining because he was too poor, and heard nothing wrong with what was coming out of her own fool mouth. Dreadful person. Not the idiot, it's not even a practical observation. Their being unable to afford a vacation does not speak of the financial security necessary to have children. Shelter, nutrition, education and love. If they were unable to provide those, it would make for a practical observation. Her comments are callous and cruel and nothing more. You did everything right by evicting them from the situation and I commend you for being a gracious host. My, 28, sister Amanda, 30, never met her bio mom. My dad, 51, raised her alone until she was barely 1. My dad and my mom got married in 1992. Amanda knew that my mom wasn't her bio mother. She started pressuring my dad for information on her mom when she was around 17. My dad always gave her vague answers and refused to talk about her bio mom, which put a strain on their relationship. Enters our uncle, 49, and revealed the family secret. Apparently, Amy's mom wanted an abortion. She was 19, but my dad and his parents were able to bribe her. They offered her money if she followed up with the pregnancy, and she accepted. My grandparents sold one of their houses and gave her half of that money to Amy's mom when the pregnancy was viable, and the other half she received when she waived her parental rights over Amy to let my mom adopt her when she was 4. My uncle wasn't supposed to tell her that. My grandparents were furious. Amy stopped her crusade to meet her bio mom and her relationship with my dad went back to normal. Amy never mentioned her bio mom again. Dad got her into therapy after that. A month ago, Amy found out that she was pregnant. The pregnancy was an accident. She switched birth controls. The problem being, Amy is about to start her surgical residency and her hours are insane. It is basically impossible to raise a baby while working in that rhythm. So she wanted an abortion. The problem is that Mark, 35, Her fiancé, 6 years together, wanted her to keep the baby. It caused a big fight. In an idiot move to convince Amy to keep the baby, Mark told Dad about this. Until that point, no one in our family knew about this. Dad talked with her and they got into an enormous fight. Amy got the abortion 10 days ago. Mark ended up breaking up with her. She is obviously really sad. My dad was acting like a jerk. He was pretending that Amy didn't exist. He didn't want to talk or see her. So on Christmas Day, we were exchanging gifts. When everyone had already finished giving each other gifts, Dad got up and gave Amy her present. He gave her an envelope in front of everyone and told her to open it. It was 3 pictures with something written on the back, a name, an address, and a phone number. Dad told her that he was tired of babying her, that this is a photo of her bio mom and her 2 sons, that was her bio mom address, and that he contacted her bio mom and she is willing to speak with Amy. He gave her Amy's number. Dad thinks that they will have a great relationship since they are so similar. Amy broke down crying. I ended up in a fight with Dad, called him a monster for doing that to her. He just said he was just tired and left. We ended up leaving and she spent the rest of Christmas crying on my shoulder. She has been a mess since then. My younger brothers called me a Grinch for making a scene and ruining Christmas. My mom was silent during the whole thing. My parents have been giving me the cold shoulder since Christmas. Am I the idiot here? OMG. Women are not baby-making machines. Whatever their views on abortion, your father had no right to rub her decision in her face. He clearly has no respect for women, something that your brothers seem to have inherited. Good on you for standing up for your sister. You're not the idiot. You're a wonderful sister. Not the idiot. Literally everyone is an idiot besides you and your sister. Your dad clearly has some resentment towards your sister and her bio mother, and it's very, very toxic. It's her body and her choice. Your dad giving her the contact info was not a gift. It was done in spite. Please continue to support your sister. I can only imagine how hard this is for her. Even if your parents sent you and Amanda a freaking engraved gold invitation to Nye, there is no way either of you should go. Their casual cruelty and blaming you for ruining their Christmas is reprehensible and victim blaming, and they need to be in time out until they freaking apologize. I hope Amanda can start her residency without ongoing drama from the rest of her family. Support her as best you can. And her ex is a jerk. You are not the idiot. I've been with my wonderful girlfriend for a few years now, and we usually get along great, aside from this current issue. You can skip to the TLDR if the exposition is too long. She's a self-proclaimed foodie, which I honestly think is just selling herself short. She's a food genius. She can taste and smell a dish and then turn around and recreate it, or even make it better than the original. If you taste something and wonder, what's that super subtle flavor? She'll tell you, it's anchovy paste / sumac / lavender / some other obscure spice that you would never think of. When someone is cooking something and they go, it's missing something, she can tell you exactly what it needs. It doesn't stop there. She knew I had touched a diesel truck at work one morning as soon as I walked into the house that night because she could somehow smell it on me. It's either really cool or really creepy, depending on the day. That's not it, either. She heard about a lost family recipe and the next week, bam, I'm eating my grandmother's homemade sausage again for the first time in 15 years. It's gotten to the point where I don't see any point in going out to eat, pretty much ever, except maybe her birthday. Even the most exotic ingredients aren't out of her reach, either, and, even though it's not about cost, I've saved up more being with her than I ever had in any other relationship. The only places we really go for date night is ramen. She can't figure out how to make the noodles, but she still tries, so it's just a matter of time, and sushi. Our anniversary was recently, and I had noticed that our local fish counter was selling sushi-grade fish, along with the rolling mats and nori, so I suggested that we have homemade sushi for our anniversary dinner before going out, and she upset and said, I'm not learning how to make sushi because then I'll never get a real date ever again. We ended up going out instead. It kinda took me by surprise that she got so mad, though. She's lightly mentioned wanting to go out occasionally to places like Olive Garden because she likes the red sauce, or other places because she likes the food, and now that I'm thinking about it, she's gotten kinda gloomy because I've asked her to cook on date nights instead of going out more often. She also brought up that food she cooks tastes better to me because she's tasting and smelling it while it cooks, so her senses are dulled by the time it's served, but she has the most acute sense of smell / taste I've ever seen, so I kinda think it's just an excuse. I just don't think it's worth it to go out and pay restaurant food prices when we can stay home for home food prices and have food that's just as excellent. You are the idiot, you don't have a private chef. You have a girlfriend. Who I assume is doing all the work on the grocery shopping / meal planning / cooking front while you reap the benefits. I seriously hope you're helping to clean up the kitchen after dinner at the very least. I also hope since she's doing all of that work you've picked up the slack in other areas of housework. You are the idiot. You're expecting her to put in crap ton of effort, without rewarding it, and never paying back. I promise you, if she's a foodie, she desperately wants to go out and eat and experience what other people do, and not put in all the effort all the time. And no, it's not an excuse. Taste buds get dulled. Even as a chef, I'm never as impressed by my own food as others tell me I should be. You should be so ashamed of yourself for taking advantage of your girlfriend. She cooks for you all the time, and on date nights you repay her by telling her to cook more for you? Stop being cheap, stop being selfish, and take her out someplace that she wants to go. Update. The general consensus was, yes, that I am the idiot, and it just went downhill from there. A couple people told me to kill myself, so thanks for that. More than a couple people told me that they hoped my girlfriend broke up with me. Well, after I posted, and proposed and was rejected, things got pretty awkward between us for the first time in 5 years. She started to get snappy at me easily, she stopped being as affectionate to me, she started making pretty much nothing but casserole. Everything changed. To clarify, she usually liked to make more involved food than casserole. Then one day, like 3 weeks ago, she threw down the spoon she was using to serve the 1000th casserole this month, and snipped at me. Do you seriously freaking think that I actually like eating at Olive Garden? Guys, she saw the post. She was furious. She doesn't like Olive Garden, she'll eat there because the kids love it and it's cheap. I was right about the red sauce being non-acidic, but, well, in her words, she never developed a taste for pasta. She's Latino, do I ever see her make pasta? No. A meal isn't complete without rice. You don't know me at all. She yelled about Olive Garden for a solid 20 minutes. It wasn't just about Olive Garden, but it was a lot about Olive Garden. Long story short, we've been separated for a few weeks now, and it's not looking good. She loves and respects me but feels it's best for her to respectfully disengage from me for her own personal betterment. So, yeah. So this happened a few days ago, and I'm still pretty worried about whether I'm an idiot or not. I take the bus to and from work and it's quite a long commute. Background, I have epilepsy. I have a seizure alert dog, and he comes with me on the bus. Because he's trained to do all kinds of support tasks, he's a large breed dog, sheepdog, poodle cross. I've had a lot of seizures on the bus, so I have a hard time mentally dealing with the commute every day. To accommodate his size and to make me comfortable, I sit in the disability seating section if it's available so he can lay beneath / between my legs and out of the way. Now onto the story. I'm on the bus ride home, and I found a seat in the disability section. I was about 2 stops from my home, and I was starting to have a few auras, so my dog turned around and was facing me / alerting me. The next thing I know, I see a flash. I look up, and a man sitting near me was holding up his phone and taking a picture of me. I was in a bit of a rough state, so I asked him to delete it. I was probably firmer than I usually would be, but my dog was alerting me and I had about 10 to 15 minutes to get home. The man was stuttering and saying things like I just wanted a picture. He was being so cute and I saw his ID badge. He has one attached to his vest that says seizure alert dog. I asked him again to delete the pic and then he goes, my daughter has epilepsy and it would be important to her to see a working seizure alert dog. I told him there were plenty of resources online and made him show me that he deleted it. I was then at my stop and ran home. I felt bad, because I do epilepsy activism work, so I felt for him, but I was really uncomfortable with someone taking a picture of me while my seizure alert dog in the disability section just felt wrong. Should I have just let him keep the picture? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and his excuse is bullcrap. His daughter has epilepsy, he should know that a flash can be a trigger, and it's 2022, he can Google a picture to show his daughter. If she is young enough that it is important to show her working dogs, making it sound like the child isn't very old, then she is young enough that I couldn't get a picture because he was working with his person, but here is a pic of others in life that I found online would be sufficient. It takes a special kind of idiot to take a flash photo of an epileptic person who's being alerted by their seizure dog. He doesn't even have the excuse of being unfamiliar with the topic. He's just a selfish idiot. Seriously, never take pictures without consent, that's not hard to memorize. Hell, I would have strangled him, and flash photos just cause me migraines, not freaking seizures. You are not the idiot, and that guy is as smart and emotionally capable as a turnip. Sure, the guy was thoughtless to take a picture with the flash on, but that could have been a mistake, but the way you responded makes you absolutely an idiot. I'm not saying you were wrong and he was right, but if I watched this go down, I'd think you were an absolute jerk. The picture is already taken, it's in a public place where, like it or not, you have no expectation of privacy, and there was no malicious intent. Just the thought of you forcing this guy to show you his phone and prove he deleted it makes me angry on his behalf. Absolutely, you are the idiot. My husband invited his new coworkers over for dinner. When they arrived, he introduced me by gesturing at me and saying, "This is Mrs. Smith," didn't even say my name, the housewife. I looked at him for a second, then I started laughing hysterically. I then said, "No honey, I work full time, and yes, I still act like a housewife when I'm home because you simply can't bother to help." His co-workers were staring at him as he tried to laugh and change the subject and ask what they wanted to drink. Dinner went super awkward with him giving me looks and stares. Once the guests left, he blew up saying I embarrassed him by laughing like a lunatic and then making the comment I made in front of his new co-workers and ruining his image. I told him he was wrong to lie about my status and deny my degree to begin with. He said I could have talked to him about it privately later, but not like this, and making his co-workers think he's useless. He stormed off and has been quiet the entire night. Was I out of line? Not the idiot. Men who diminish their partners to look better at the office are gross. He only seemed to care about his embarrassment, and not yours. I'd be mortified if my husband used a lie that robbed me of my success and accomplishments to prop himself up. If he wanted you to pretend to be a housewife, he should have asked you to before you even agreed to the dinner, and then dealt with it if you said no. Your husband embarrassed himself, and he should be apologizing to you. Besides, if his new coworkers are the kind who respect him less because you work, I worry about why he even wanted to impress them in the first place. You didn't embarrass him. He took care of that himself. What did he think would happen? All he had to do was introduce you like a normal person. Sadly, you are married to someone who is both immature and needs to tell lies to make himself look good. I'd be taking another look at this marriage if I were you. You deserve better.